Coming up, as spring sports kick off this month, one Gamecock team is starting on their road to redemption.
Meanwhile, two Gamecock stars on the hardwood made a short list for a top honor in the game. Find out who.
And finally, as South Carolina battles an unusually tough winter, a summer slam just wrapped up on the other side of the globe.
All these stories and more tonight on Palmetto State Sports.
From the Blue Ridge Mountains and through the Midlands down to the coast, there's plenty of sports highlights and moments here in South Carolina. There's only one place where you'll catch all the action. This is Palmetto State Sports. Welcome into Palmetto State Sports. I'm Will Kronsberg.
And I'm Brianna Walton. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Jumping into the headlines, remember back in May when the South Carolina Gamecock baseball team was booted from its own regional by Virginia? Well, it's time to forget that.
Over the weekend, the baseball team was back on the field for a trio of preseason scrimmages, all leading up to the February 18th opener against UNC Greensboro.
The Gamecocks' redemption tour will have to come without the entire starting rotation from the regional and All-American first baseman Wes Clark, but Coach Mark Kingston returns freshman sensation Will Sanders and the seemingly ageless Andrew Eister alongside a top 25 recruiting class. With
expectations high for this spring, you can catch another scrimmage this Thursday at 3:30 p.m. at Founders Park. Just announced, two players on South Carolina's women's basketball team made the top 20 list for John R. Wooden Award.
Junior Aaliyah Boston and senior Destiny Henderson are in the top 10 on the list, with Henderson ranked 7th and Boston sitting in the number 3 spot.
Aaliyah Boston is currently the lead scorer for the Gamecocks, averaging 17 points per game.
Boston also got her name written in the history books with the program record-breaking for most consecutive double-doubles at 14.
As for our shining senior, Destiny Henderson leads South Carolina with a team-high three-point shooting percentage at 40.8%.
Former University of South Carolina, Utah, and South Alabama quarterback Jake Bentley is at yet another school, but this time as a coach.
Bentley joined Coach Willie Taggart's staff at Florida Atlantic as a grad assistant last month after completing his 6-year college career.
In parts of 4 seasons in Garnet and Black, Bentley threw 55 touchdowns and led the Gamecocks to 3 consecutive bowl appearances.
At FAU, Bentley will work primarily with the Owls quarterback as he looks to follow into his footsteps of his father, Bobby, who coached at Burns High School to 4 straight state titles. The college football recruiting cycle will wrap up tomorrow with National Signing Day.
Though the early December signing period has made the February date close to obsolete, 3 5-star recruits have yet to sign and plan to tomorrow.
For South Carolina, signing day marks the end of a very successful first full recruiting cycle for head coach Shane Beamer.
Beamer and his staff signed a total of 22 high school seniors, including a trio of 4-star players, with 1 more signee expected tomorrow. Good enough for the 25th best class in the country.
The bigger story for the Gamecocks was addition from the transfer portal, including quarterback Spencer Rattler and running back Christian Bill Smith.
I'm really excited about not only the freshmen, but obviously these transfers, a former 5-star and Spencer Rattler, and just a lot to be excited about with Gamecock football.
I know these fans have to be excited for what's looking forward for Shane Beamer and his crew. A quarterback at South Carolina who has the potential to become great is what this team needs and what the fans are really looking for. That's all for the headlines in Palmetto State Sports, but coming up, a look at the sports world beyond the South Carolina, so stay tuned. Welcome back. Outside of the Carolinas, they look into the pros. SGTV News 4 sports reporter Spencer Ball is here to break down the MLB lockdown. Spencer?
Today, the MLB and MLBPA met to discuss a possible end to the MLB lockout. In the new collective bargaining agreement, players have stated that they want a $100 million pre-arbitration pool, as well as moving free agent eligibility up 1 year so that players can sign contracts earlier. The MLB stated that they only wanted a $10 million pre-arbitration pool and have shown some resistance against free agent eligibility. Today's meeting was reported as heated, and no progress was made throughout the 90-minute meeting. Without a new deal coming soon, spring training could see a delay, which would ultimately push back the start of the season. Also in women's tennis this past weekend in the land down under, we saw Aussie native Ashley Barty defeat American Danielle Collins in straight sets to win her 3rd career Grand Slam and retain her world #1 ranking. On the men's side of things, it was a historic Sunday as Rafael Nadal completed the legendary comeback against Daniil Medvedev to win his record-breaking 21st Grand Slam title. Nadal found himself down 2-1 and clawed his way back into the match, winning the third and fourth sets, ultimately putting Medvedev away with a 7-5 fifth set victory. This Grand Slam title broke the three-way tie Nadal shared with other tennis greats, Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. We'll see if Barty and Nadal can continue their hot streaks when the French Open rolls around on May 22nd. After the break, a quick test of our knowledge will turn up very little. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. I'm Courtney Holman, and in the spirit of Black History Month, since it is February 1st, we are going to play a fun game of trivia. All right, so to kick things off, the first question is, which NBA player is a 15-time All-Star and actually from South Carolina?
South Carolina's actually produced a lot of good NBA players, in my knowledge. I don't know how many of them came from the University of South Carolina, but Kevin Garnett, I think.
Kevin Garnett. Well, you are correct. It is Kevin Garnett. Brianna, you didn't know the answer?
No, I had no clue. I'm not going to be honest. I had no clue who it was. But it's glad to know that South Carolina's producing a lot of talent around here.
I'd say a lot of talent. Kevin Garnett.
Anyways, all right, so the next question is, who is the first Black woman to win an Olympic gold medal at the 1948 Summer Olympics in the high jump competition?
I'm
This
not
may be a
Olympic.
little bit, yeah,
I'm
I'm about to say
not
this may be a
Olympic.
little tricky.
This is a long time ago, definitely before our time, I will say.
Most definitely.
Olympics are coming up. I'm going to have to say Alice. I'm not quite sure. I know the name Alice because I have read this in some article before in the past talking about the Olympics, but I cannot think of which Alice it is.
I wish I could finish off her answer. I watched high jump at the 2021 Summer Olympics, but not 1948, so I don't know the answer.
Understandable. So the correct answer is Alice Coachman.
Ooh, very close.
But
Very
you knew the first name, but you didn't
But
get the
yeah, that's
last
all
name.
that matters. Count. I at
No.
least get half the credit for it.
Partial credit, that's what we're here for. All right, so, and to end the segment, the last question, since it is Super Bowl, almost Super Bowl Sunday. So the question is, who is the first African-American quarterback to win a Super Bowl? And I'll give you a hint. He played for the Washington team.
Okay.
Big Super Bowl fans here.
Would you like to?
Washington. I'm not sure that I know all the knowledge. I do know the name. I want to say Doug Williams.
I do think it's Doug Williams. Washington, they're about to unveil their new name. I'm excited. So
I'm excited to see it
he's kind of a staple in franchise history.
And y'all are correct. It is Doug Williams. Well, y'all got 2.5 out of 3.
2.5, yeah.
Partial
We'll go
credit
with
there,
that.
partial credit there. All right, well, coming up after the break, a check of Palmetto State Sports calendar. Stay tuned.
Before we go, let's take a look at the Palmetto State calendar.
Gamecock men's basketball is in action right now, tipping off at Mississippi State just moments ago.
And Don Staley and the women's team take on the court Thursday night as they host Alabama. And the men's will close out the week with Tennessee coming to Colonial Life on Saturday.
Elsewhere in the state, both Clemson basketball teams are in action twice this week, with the men hosting Florida State tomorrow night and traveling to Georgia Tech on Saturday, while the women host Louisville on Thursday and visit Virginia on Sunday.
And finally, the Coastal Carolina men's basketball team will spend the week on the road, first facing UT Arlington on Thursday and then Texas State on Saturday night.
Meanwhile, the Chanticleer women are down to just one contest this week, as they will precede the men with their own Texas State game on Saturday afternoon.
That's all we have for tonight's edition of Palmetto State Sports.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at SGTV Sports. To keep up with all of our content, be sure to visit us online, sgtvonline.com. For SGTV News 4 Sports, I'm Will Kronsberg.
And I'm Brianna Walton. From all of us here at SGTV, have a great night, Carolina. Forever to thee.